Okay, good evening, and thank you for joining us for tonight's meeting to discuss zoning changes for Herbert Marcus Leadership Academy. My name is Priscilla Rice, and now I'm going to give instructions in Spanish on how to access Spanish language interpretation. Buenas tardes y gracias por participar en esta reunión para discutir cambios de uso de suelo para la escuela Herbert Marcus Elementary. Si desea escuchar esta presentación en español, puede seleccionar la opción en español en la parte inferior derecha de la pantalla. Si por algún motivo no escucha al intérprete, regresa al inglés y vuelva a intentar la opción en español. Si aún no funciona, a favor de avisarnos por el chat. Y desafortunadamente la opción de interpretación no es compatible con las computadoras Chromebook. Te recomendamos que intente entrar a la reunión utilizando un teléfono celular como iPhone o Android, una computadora PC, iPad o tablet para escuchar la información en español. Thank you again for joining us tonight. We will answer questions following the presentation. If you have a question, please raise your hand using the icon at the bottom of your screen. We will call your name so you can unmute. And if you prefer, you can also write your questions in the chat and we'll read them and get you an answer as soon as possible. At this time, I would like to introduce Katie Linehan, Director of Design for Dallas ISD Construction Services. Katie, would you like to say a few words?
Good evening, and thank you for attending our meeting tonight to discuss the new elementary school that we're building, a replacement school for Marcus Elementary. I am standing in for Chief Alfred. He hopes to be able to join us at the tail end of our meeting. He's sends you his regards and wants to let you know that he's very excited about this new project, and we're excited to hear your input. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Katie. Joining us as well is our trustee, Edwin Flores. Trustee Flores, would you like to say a few words?
Sure, thank you for the opportunity. I want to thank everybody for joining us, community members, families, faculty. This is an opportunity to provide input on zoning. I also want to thank the voters for voting in favor of the 2020 bond and the taxpayers for paying for this brand new school that we're building here at Marcus. And so I'm excited to see the presentation. Again, this is a zoning meeting. After the zoning questions, we'll be glad to take questions about the school or construction or anything having to do with that part of the presentation. But again, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Trustee Flores. I also want to recognize our principal, Daniel Calvo, who is, I believe he will be joining us later on during the meeting. And I will now pass it on to zoning consultant Carl Crawley with Master Plan, who is managing the projects. And Carl will take it from here. Carl?
Thank you, Priscilla. My name is, as you mentioned, my name is Carl Crawley. I'm Executive Director here at Master Plan. We are the zoning and land use consultants for the district for this school. We have been involved with the district for 20 plus years, if not longer. So we're fortunate to work on this school, Marcus Elementary School, and the basically new school that you're getting out here. I also want to introduce Claire Standard. She's on the phone, on the call meeting. She is the plan commissioner for this area. So she's listening in to this meeting, and she may want to make a comment. If not, I know she will have good questions for us. She always does at the Plan Commission hearing. So I know she is involved, and she is very involved in everything in her district, and especially for schools. She is a very good advocate for schools. You have someone looking out for you. So I want to thank her for participating. And next, I want to introduce David Stanford from Handfeld Architects. He's going to take over the presentation, then I'll come back at the end to talk about the traffic management plan. So David, it's on to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I've been the project designer for this project and look forward to finally getting it under construction. So anyway, what we're going to do now is go through a series of slides showing stuff about the school and give you information about it. Could y'all go ahead and, okay. This slide right now shows basically the existing campus with North Haven down at the bottom and Dennis Road to the left. You can see the different parts of the building, and what happens basically with this project is the existing two-story part that's on the east side of the building will remain. It will be renovated. The portables in the pinkish color will ultimately be taken out first. And then as we build a new addition back there, eventually all the rest of the school will be taken out and only the two-story wing will be kept. We will also be doing different kinds of vehicular drop-off and parking for this campus that doesn't exist right now, but they'll both come off of Dennis or North Haven. With this part here, you can see what we've done is basically the part in the red is the primary classroom part of the building, cafeteria. And then the orange part is the tornado shelter. And or it's also the gymatorium of the campus. So what we basically are doing is putting the building on the north side of the existing two-story piece, and then providing a new drop-off drive that goes around the north side of the building, and also create a new drop-off drive off North Haven on the north front, on the front. So, and then there'll be another drop-off drive that'll come off from Dennis Road. And so one thing this school will do is it will greatly reduce the amount of parking traffic out on North Haven when kids come and go from the school, because they'll basically have to come onto campus to get in and out of the building. And then where the existing part of the building we're taking out is, ultimately that will be like a large park with outdoor activities and another drop-off drive there for kids. So when you look at the plan there, the kind of grayish green trees are all existing trees that will remain, and the darker green trees will be new trees that will be added to beautify the site. Go to the next slide. This shows basically a rendering of what the project is being proposed to look like. The building on the right is all the new construction. The part on the left is the existing building, but what we're going to do with this is basically stain the existing brick, the reddish color, kind of like SMU, that will match the brick of the new building. And it should look very much like that. And then in the existing building, we'll replace all the windows with new windows and upgrade everything inside of that. And then the whole building back in the back will be basically a brand new building with kind of a tower element at the quote main entry to the building. So this is on the southeast corner of the project. This side would be the southwest side. And here again, the building that's on the right is the existing building that's to remain and be stained. And then the other part back behind there is the new building. You can see the kind of smaller tower element actually leads into the cafeteria and will be a drop-off point on there. One thing to say about this one too, and the other one too, in reality, there'll be a lot more trees between your view and what this shows. So it'll look more like a large garden space, park area, as opposed to just a big flat area that goes to the building. So one of the things that we've also looked at on this project, and ultimately it'll depend on whether the contractors exactly follow it or whatever, but the first phase will be to tear down all the portable buildings that are on the north part of the campus and kind of that hatched area there to clear out a zone where we can actually start building the building. All the existing building will stay in operation during the construction of this new building. Okay, you can go to the next slide. So what happens then on the next phase is once all the portables are taken out, we will come in and start doing the rough grading for the site where the addition is, and also look at putting in a new fire lane to go around the perimeter of the building. And this can be helping ways in Central to give place for construction workers to park or to bring supplies around to the building and park them in that area. The play field is on the right now where the new parking is shown. So that's something that the school will have to learn to live with and during this construction. But in this part, the existing building will all still be in use while the construction starts on the new addition. And as we continue on to phase 3, would be basically building the two-story parts, the first floor and the second floor of the addition. And once this part is completed, we'll be able to move the kids into that part of the building and start. You can go to the next slide. And at that point, when that part is finished, we'll go down there and start doing the renovation of the existing building, the two-story building, which includes, like I said, new windows, and there are some different classrooms in there and things. And the existing building will still be there. The one-story part will still be there, but it won't be to the left of that. Will still be there, but it really won't be used anymore because people will be moved into the new addition. Okay. So at this point, then we would come in and tear down the existing building, open it all up, and you can go to the next slide. And then the next thing would be to come in to build a new drop-off drive down there, put in a new soccer field, other landscaping and game areas. And we'd also will be fencing in this side of the part on this part here. You go to the next slide. There we're actually, as you can see, a line that says new fence and gate. We will be actually putting a fence down along North Haven, up north up to the entry off of Dennis Road and back to the school. So this will actually could be a secured student play area on the building in the campus. But we'll have a drop-off drive for people to drop off kids so they can go straight into the cafeteria in the morning or can come around to the east side and drop off into the main entry. And then we also have some other outdoor areas on the north side of the building that can be smaller areas or play areas for different age groups or learning centers or whatever. So trying to get that where it has its own kind of feel back up there on that side of the site. Okay, Carl, are you going to talk about this or do I need to talk about this?
No, I was going to talk about this.
Okay.
So currently, I'm sure there's just, as most schools that were built in this time frame, there's really no queuing on site. So you have the street, North Haven, probably some on Dennis Road, but probably most of it's on North Haven and the associated streets. With this opportunity to basically build a new school, we are obviously saving a portion of the existing, but to build a new school, we now can queue everybody pretty much on site, which includes the big queue there off of Dennis and some off of North Haven and stuff. So that will free up in the afternoon, which is the most difficult time, will free up that space in front of the school to keep the cars off of the school. So that's one of the obviously good points about building a new school and having the layout, the design. The population has changed in the way of how kids get to school. Not as many kids walk, not as many kids ride their bike to school. There's more parents drop off than when the school was built. So this helps us take care of that. There'll still be school zones on North Haven and Dennis Road to protect the children and stuff. But otherwise, the queuing can all pretty much remain inside the campus at this time. Next slide, I guess. There we are. Questions?
That's the end of it.
Questions? Oh,
If they have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand, or if you don't feel comfortable saying it out loud, you can put it in the chat. We have from
Claire, did you have a
Yeah.
question for us?
okay.
Yes, I do. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My question is this. When I looked at the renderings and I saw the before school, the school that exists now, it appears, has that courtyard. And so there seems to be lots of light coming from inside going to the school and from outside. Now, I know that's a dated concept today, but when I look at the new one, the new school, the windows seem so small. The light doesn't seem to be a lot of light coming in there.
Every room has large windows in it. I mean,
How big are the windows? I'm just curious.
well, in a lot of classrooms, we have more than one window too. So, but we have got, the existing building, we're basically just replacing the windows. So those will all be the same size. The courtyards that are on the west side of the existing part we're keeping. Yes, that goes away, but we've introduced new ones up on the north side of the addition. And every classroom has got a couple, 2 or 3 windows into it. So there should be plenty of natural light.
No, I saw the windows, but the windows look small to me. Do you have the size of them?
Well, it's again, what they are is it's more than one window per classroom too.
Yeah, I understand that.
So most of them, I would say, are probably maybe 6 by 8, 6 by 10, and kind of depending on where we have. The smaller windows might be like on the front. There's something going to the administration area. The big windows up above that were the Why don't you go back to the slide? Can you go back a few more slides here? Okay, that one right there, like there, those
Yeah.
windows. So we've got 2 windows there, and each one of them, so they're about 6 by 6, 6 by 8. So each pair of windows goes into the classroom. The
Okay,
front-
they just looked small in the renderings. If they're
well,
6
that's
by
pretty far
8,
back. That's pretty far back too. So
yeah, if
like I
they're
say,
6 by 8, that's plenty big, but they look so small. They look kind of like they were 3 by 4. So that's why I was asking.
like I say, the ones that are on that part that's a little bit closer there to the next to left of it, the little ones that are like 3 by 6, those are into the offices. And
Yeah,
that big window up above it, the big long one that's about 20 feet wide, plus the other ones, that whole area is the library of the building up there. So,
okay.
and then of course,
I have-
everything to the left.
I have one other question, which I also asked about another school. You know, because we're building something new and want it to last for a long time, I asked about solar panels. Is there any mandate at DISD to either use solar panels or make it put in as maybe they became less expensive or something? Particularly in Dallas, Texas, where we have so much sun.
So I'll answer that question. This is Trustee Flores. So we have a district sustainability policy that basically requires the school district, as we're making new construction or additions, to look at that. And we use a standard called CHIPS, which is the Collaborative for High Performing Schools. And instead of using and having to pay all the fees to LEED and those kinds of organizations, this is actually a collaborative that designs schools for sustainability, because our schools are pretty much closed during the summers, right? So we don't have those same kind of concerns. But the district sources 100% of its electricity from renewable sources. We passed that action item a couple of years ago. So we're very heavily into recycling and also teaching students about it. So in addition to not just, putting our money where our mouth is, we're also teaching the kids about it. And a lot of these schools, we also, build into the schools any kind of sustainability things that we have, like the geothermal type of cooling and heating that we have. And there's actually educational information that goes with that, kind of a living classroom in a sense. So we are heavily invested in this, and we absolutely look at that. But right now, solar panels, and I happen to be a patent attorney, and so know a lot about this. It really takes about 14 years of continuous use to recover the amount of energy that went into building that solar panel. So that solar panel lasts less than 14 years. It's actually less energy efficient. As soon as somebody has relatively, reasonably priced solar panels that can then have, a longer shelf life and recover their energy earlier, then, I'm sure that we'll be glad to look at it. But at this stage, that what we're trying to do is conserve as much electricity as we can by building new buildings and working the architects. Adding more windows is, inversely proportional to the amount of energy loss. So I know the architects look at that very, very carefully to make sure that we balance those, the competing energy use while also making sure that our kiddos get natural light.
So thank you for that. I'm with you. I wish we could do solar panels everywhere, but it's still too expensive. But as long as, if it does get lower, it's easily retrofitted. That's all that I think matters in planning for the future.
Thank you, Ms. Stannard, and thank you, Trustee Flores. We have a couple of hands up. We have first Mayank Patel. Would you like to ask your question, please?
Hi, yeah, thank you for taking my question. I just want to let you guys know, background-wise. So I grew up in that neighborhood, and I went to elementary school for first grade all the way to sixth. So it's pretty dear to me. I'm glad that there's some renovations coming. And so it's a big change. The other thing is, I live on that map that you guys showed. So there's some houses, some duplexes right there by Dennis Road. I don't know if you want to pull it up, but really, yeah, right there, they're blacked off and you're not really pertaining to it. Your border is outside of it. But you see those 4 demarcation between Dennis and North Haven?
Right.
Yeah, so we live in those buildings. So I just want to, this construction and all that's going to happen. How long did you say? I don't know if I missed it, until everything's going to be completed.
I don't know for sure if it's going to be a year and a half or what. I don't know for sure, but where you're talking about we're living, you're probably more protected there because the existing building will continue to be in use until the new part is built.
Sure.
And then we'll come in after that and tear down the existing part and turn that into a park.
Okay. And then
So-
when is it happening? So like in terms of when is it going to start?
Well, the job is bidding later this week or next week. So I think it's up to the DISD after that.
Okay, I see. And then in terms of bidding, are there other competitors? Like, I don't like, not that it matters, but in terms of construction, in terms of other construction companies.
Yeah, we're not a construction company. We're an architecture company.
Okay.
And so yes, there should be more than one bidder on the job. So
Absolutely. We actually, our bidding process is a competitively sealed proposal. So anyone can come in and put together a bid and bid on the project. And then we award based on the bids and their qualifications and references, and other criteria. So it's actively out on the street. We're in the zoning application process along with the building permit review. So we work and coordinate with the city of Dallas to push this through and hope to begin construction in late winter, early spring, and tracking a fall 2024 opening. That's what we're currently working on. But my chief would always say, of course, that we do have to get through the zoning and permitting process with the city of Dallas in order to begin. And you asked about you live off of Dennis Road in a duplex. We also have a safety manager with the bond office, and we have inspectors who go out on site on a regular basis. They'll be out on this campus several times per week, working together with the project manager and the contract manager from the district. So we will share information about their contact information with you in the future. We'll make sure that's available in case you have any questions or issues, but we do take safety and security quite serious.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess it'd be, like I grew up there, so I'm 35, but my dad's like 60 something. Like he's definitely gonna like notice a lot of things. I just want to make sure it's a well kept, maintained place where we're not gonna get flat tires and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like the nails and things like that, just kept clean. Noise pollution. I mean, we can't avoid that to whatever extent. You know what I mean? But
absolutely.
But
if you could share your contact information with Priscilla and in the chat, we'll make sure that we can put you in touch with our contract manager and the project manager for this. So again, you'll have that that information, and those are also things that we care about too. So we don't want anyone to have flat tires and noise and things like that. So
yeah, and it's a small thing, but I know my dad, like, he wanted me to get onto Zoom to kind of make sure. He's like, well, one, he was afraid that, well, are they rezoning, rebuilding, and are we going to be demolished? I was like, yeah, I don't think so, Dad.
No.
So is there any intentions to move those duplexes, right? For
No.
more land, but it doesn't look like it from what y'all are looking at right now.
No.
Yeah, so I can reassure him there. But the other thing is, I know he was going to ask, like, well, with all this construction going on, how does it affect us? I guess, as long as you guys are professional and making sure all the rules and regulations are followed through the city of Dallas, I think we're fine.
Absolutely, we do.
Okay, and then I guess on our end, from the backyard, we're going to see a park. It looks like, if you can go to that, is that phase 6 or something?
Eventually, yeah. Once we tear down the existing building, you'll see a real nice park area there that you can with a soccer field nearby and stuff like that. So
my brother's here too, and he's like 20s, and he went to school in Marcus. I don't see a basketball. He doesn't see a basketball court.
That's the new hard play area, would be a basketball court.
Okay. All right. Yeah. He's like, let's make sure there's basketball. So
for sure.
All right, cool. Yeah, I don't see anything else that I want to comment on. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Patel. We also have Ms. Lindsay Aldridge has a question. Ms. Aldridge?
Good afternoon. I'm a teacher there at Marcus Elementary, and I was curious, just like Mr. Patel, when this is going to start. And you said possibly December or early next year. And also,
Actually, it would definitely be early next year, not December. Again, we're working on that permitting and zoning process with the city of Dallas.
okay. And then I heard him mention that the playground, once you guys start the demolition, the playground is going to be demolished and they're going to rebuild a new one. So I'm curious to know where our children are going to be able to play outside while all of this construction is going on, because that is a everyday, all day used area of our campus.
Well, I think that to me, obviously you'd have to use your courtyards between the buildings that you've got right now. Some of the stuff we've got shown on the east side of the building there, you could build just the fire lane that's along the far east property line and let the other part take out the existing fire lane and keep part of that where they could be playing on some of that area too.
Okay.
We'll have to fence it off and separate it from the construction side. So,
Right.
And that's something that we are working through the phasing with your principal, and they'll make suggestions for that. So when we finalize it, we provide the campus an opportunity to provide that input on preferences. And again, the safety being important and separation of kids and workers and things like that. So we'll bring in the contract manager with the project manager to finalize those.
Thank you.
Good morning. This is Alejandro DiMaggio. I'm actually the project manager for this project. I'm with AECOM in the district. And just to answer your question, is something right now, this is construction phase is just the initial phasing. Soon as we get the contractor on board, we can revisit this phasing of plan that we have right now. And we need to discuss with the principal how much space does he need during this construction phase, because we don't want to leave the campus without any green space during construction. We need to have something for the kids to play during the day as well. But it's something that we need to coordinate it with the general contractor as soon as we have the general contractor on board, explaining and coordinating those phases. Construction phases. But yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. DiMaggio. Do we have any other comments or questions from people attending this meeting? All right, we do have somebody. Ms. Stanner, did you have a comment?
Yes, I do. I have two things I'd like to ask. One is I'm just curious about this. When you build a new addition or basically a new school, what are your plans about upgrading in the classrooms to keep up with today with media, internet, and all of that? Have you built that into your plans?
Yeah. Yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, Trustee Flores, please go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that is central to these additions and all the new construction. We certainly know two things. One is that kids learn from teachers, and two, that technology can be used to leverage and improve that education. So we do both. I mean, we were way ahead when we started under COVID. Being able to provide devices and technology to all our kiddos. In fact, we had to deploy 30,000 hotspots because there just isn't enough internet capacity throughout the district and really equitably distributed around the district. And so for those areas where there was no high-speed internet, we had to provide the hotspots and had to provide the technology And with philanthropy and our own money and federal money, we're able to handle that. But yes, absolutely, every single one of these classrooms will have the upgraded internet, will have the upgraded technology that the teachers can use to, educate our kiddos.
Great. My second question is this. And I talked about this before in another meeting, but I'm curious, like when you tear down the old buildings, not the two-story that you're retaining, but the other, and if you're getting new equipment, new tables, new chairs, new playground equipment, what do you do about donating or remediating or doing something with the old equipment? How does DISD handle that?
Well, the vast majority of old equipment is really, we usually have a 5-year lifespan for it. And that older equipment is just not usable anymore. It can't handle the operating systems. It just doesn't have enough memory. The hard drives don't have memory. So my guess is that most of the time it's recycled. To the extent that we can donate equipment that's still good, we do so. But after 5 years, most of this technology is pretty obsolete. We do have a refresh plan of the
I'm sorry.
that occurs on a ongoing basis.
I meant more furniture and playground equipment, not technology. How do you deal with that?
My guess is that, like any other goods that the district has, once it's declared that it's probably stored, and then once it's declared surplus, it's probably sold. Not like any other public entity, we treat it the same way.
Yeah, I'm just thinking in terms of, one man's junk's another man's treasure. So playground equipment that's old to you might seem new to another organization. That's all. I just didn't want to see it get dumped, I guess.
Well, again, to the extent that the equipment is still safe to use, I'm sure that we could find it a new home. The problem is that once you pull some of this stuff out that's been down in the ground for 40 years, 50 years, who knows how much of it's still viable. But, the district does, try to be a good neighbor to the extent we can. Maybe the city will want to take it.
And just to answer a little bit, this is Alejandro DiMaggio again, and just to answer a little bit more of your questions regarding the playground equipment, like P said, soon as that equipment is off the ground, to relocate a use of old playground equipment is more concerned about the safety of the kids. Whenever you take out that equipment, is not stable enough to relocate it to different location. It's more of the safety of the kids.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Mr. DiMaggio. We also have a comment in the chat from Miss Aldridge. She says, thank you so much. It's great to know that the building will still be there for our students until the new one is ready. Does anybody else have a question or a comment?
Just one more comment. If there's any neighbors on the call on this meeting, I will put down my information on the chat. Once again, if you have any concerns or any additional questions regarding the noise or the cleaning around the site, I'd be happy to help you with that. I'm usually very concerned about the cleaning, and somebody mentioned flat tires as well. I would check on every visit on the work site just to make sure that all the site and around the areas on the streets are clean. But if you have any concern or questions, I'd be happy to assist you with those on regards on construction.
Thank you so much, Mr. DiMaggio. I don't see any other comments or questions in the chat or anybody that has their hand raised at this time. Ms. Aldridge and Mr. Patel, was that your hand raised from the previous question, or did you have a new question? Just making sure.
Oh, sorry, I didn't put my hand back down. And also, we just wanted to exchange information or whatever. So how will we, like, is it in the chat? I don't feel comfortable putting my phone number in the chat. So
Turn left onto Jasper Street.
No problem. I can write my email if you want to email it to me. Does that feel
yeah,
better?
I think that'd be great. Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, I'll put it in the chat. Here's my
In
email.
1,000 feet, your destination will be on the left.
Sorry, I'm driving too.
No, no
So, okay.
worries. No
No.
worries at all. And Mr. DiMaggio also put his contact information if you'd like to reach him. Okay, wonderful. Before we close out this meeting,
Alejandro,
okay, go ahead.
different email, Alejandro.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'm sorry, what email?
Oh, for Mr. DiMaggio. Well, before we close out the meeting, Trustee Flores, would you like to share some words, closing remarks?
Sure. I want to thank everybody for joining us and participating in this this zoning meeting. It is essential to get feedback from the community about our plans, and I'm just excited again and very grateful to the taxpayers for paying for it and the voters for voting for us to be able to upgrade this school and build. There were labeled additions, but it's basically a brand new school, and the portion that we're keeping is the addition that we made built within the last 15 years. So it itself is also pretty much brand new. So thank you everybody for joining and participating.
Thank you, Trustee Flores, and thank you everyone again for participating, and have a wonderful and safe evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.